Hello, 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 the mask is back, and just another banger, in my opinion. I know that people are saying, oh, it's whatever, it's another mid card, and I think Kenny Okoye was even saying it's trash or something along those lines. I think that's a terrible take. I mean, it's nothing like what we got in 324. That one was pretty freaking good, but I mean, it's almost all ranked fights. Even if we shouldn't have Tai Tuivasa in the rankings anymore, he's still there, and probably Telson Teixeira shouldn't be there, but they are, and so it's almost all ranked fights on the main card. And aside from Dustin Jacoby and Jimmy Crute falling off the main card, it would have basically been all ranked offerings because those guys are basically on the cusp of a ranking. Let's be honest. That fight would have determined who would have been in the top 15, I believe. So let's just jump into it. I'm going to be completely honest. I've done zero research for all of the Road to UFC guys. So this could either completely destroy my prediction rate for this card or hugely boost it. I'm just going to go with the favorite every time, maybe. Actually, Lou is an underdog here, so there's not enough underdogs I'm going to pick on the main card, to be honest, and even the prelim. So I'm just going to say, are most people, okay, I'm going to say decision, I guess. Most people are picking decision. Usually, Australia cards have a lot of decisions. It's a bit of a mix. Sometimes they also have even submissions, surprisingly enough, if I remember correctly. But um, wow, a lot of people are picking Nakamura. I'm gonna go with Sebastian because I don't know. Tapology says so. I'm going with whatever Tapology fans are saying. Okay, at least for these ones because yeah, that last card, I got a few predictions wrong that I was like, oh, I was on the fence, I was gonna pick Gaethje, but then I heard some other guys talk about, oh, he has the attributes advantage and all this, and he has the youth. I'm like, okay, yeah, Gaethje's probably deteriorating, and he was, but not enough still to take out the Gaethjes. Kim, I'll go with, I guess. I'll go with a sub. I'll just go with round two just to be different. I mean, there's some people picking submission here, like almost, not almost half, but a decent chunk. So I'm going to say submission because he probably has some submissions in his game then, in his back pocket of his game. I'm picking Khan Ofli. No, I'm picking Ija. We're finally back to fighters that I actually know, and I'm picking him because he has really good boxing. I remember he has okay takedown defense. Was it against Chris Padilla he fought against? No, Gabriel Santos. I knew that he lost to. I'm probably thinking of a different China guy. I'm thinking of Rong Zhu, I think, or something like that. But yeah, Gabriel Santos is not a bad loss either. He just KO'd that Korean. What's the guy's name? Like the Korean McGregor, basically, with his hands kind of away from his chin, poking at his opponent with the jab and setting up the cross. Pretty good, but and also the lead hook. He has a pretty good lead hook. That guy, but different guy. And he also got finished by Gabriel Santos. So to lose by decision is not too bad. And then Weston Wilson, yeah, he pretty much dominated. He has some submission games actually in his arsenal. So I think that people expecting that Ofli is going to sub this guy, I think that even if it gets there, he has a pretty good tools there when it gets there. So I think that he could be rolling for an armbar, and then maybe Con Ofli ends up on top, but then in his scramble, he gives up a position again, and then that time, Yija realizes his mistake, rolling for the armbar, and then lands some nasty elbows. Because I remember he also had some decent elbows. And Con Ofli is just known for getting finished at this point, getting countered on the feet as well. He's just really tough, has a really tough time against these powerful counter strikers, getting inside, getting in the pocket. And otherwise, he's basically just like a um, Brad Riddell. So I'm gonna say first round KO. And Brad Riddell's kind of trash. Let's be honest. He just kind of has some quick hooks in the pocket. Um, Jonathan, Jonathan, bro, I'm like all over the place. Jonathan Miklev versus Oban Elliott. I'm going with Oban's not a bad pick, but I'm gonna go with Jonathan Miklev. Miklev. I'm a bit worried here though, because Oban has been really promoted in the embedded this UFC fight card. So that's certainly something. You don't know if the UFC promotional machine's going to get behind him, and that's going to be the reason why he wins here. I mean, you never know. Like with the betting scams going on, even in UFC 324, where the Alexander Anthony Hernandez or was it Alexander, right, right, and was it no, not Chase Hooper, bro? Why am I forgetting? Michael Johnson. That fight was potentially a betting scandal as well with that coming off the card. It's like you never know, okay? You never know who the UFC is getting behind. And I'm not saying it's the UFC that did that. I'm just saying there's certain people that are betting on the fights, and they these odds should not be this close. That's all I'm saying. I really think that otherwise, if Jonathan Miklev does not have any injuries or anything like that, which allowed for Isaac Dolgarian's betting lines to go crazy in the other direction, then it should be fine. Because Jonathan, I feel like he has a really nice long jab. He fights really long. He has a almost a karate stance at moments. At least once he's getting backed up, he kind of um, he has that sort of what do you call it? It's like that sort of hopscotch tiptoeing back and forth style. A little bit like MVP, but not as much, not nearly as much. I think that he's going to be pumping the jab at range. His cross is pretty solid. He's kind of like a Billy Elikana, which we'll get to later. And I feel like he has the takedown defense, which is shown against Kevin Jousset. And Oban Elliott, he kind of has to rely on, I rewatched some of his fights. He has to rely on getting really close in the pocket sometimes to actually set up his takedowns and even get some decent punches on. I feel like these guys with these long sort of karate-esque stances, like the guy that he lost to last time, Sekyong Ko, I believe, yeah, um, he loses to because he just he doesn't know how to deal with these guys longer than him, really, most of the time. And let's see, Jacob Malkoun, Torres Finney. I'm actually going to go with Malkoun. I'm surprised how many people are picking Torres Finney. Malkoun is the favorite and justified. I know it's only a slight, but still, it's a decent slight. And it's for good reason, because he is the better grappler here. Torres Finney, when it comes to a sport where, for the most part, damage is what's getting scored, and damage is not what you do, yeah, Torres Finney is not going to win this. Like, he had a freaking close fight, which one of the judges scored 30-27, I believe, to the other guy, Robert Valentin. Yeah. I was just remembering if that was like a split decision, and yeah, it was the 30-27. So if one of the judges, which is based as hell, I don't want to say hell, but based as hell, if one of the judges is going to score that when it was a clear Torres Finney win, but he sees that, and that's what judges are scoring out here these days, and Jacob Malkoun can land an elbow, like Robert Valentin did, but more effectively. He's not just gonna like literally Robert Valentin is like 11-6 or something, 10-6. That's not good, okay? Jacob Malkoun, I know his record isn't pretty either, but he has really good takedowns. He can KO you with his hip, okay? He can do damage with parts of his body that you wouldn't even imagine, okay? So I'm going with 30-27 Jacob Malkoun. Even if Torres Finney runs his short head into the freaking hip, he's gonna get KO'd, okay? But he's gonna get rocked. This is an easy one. Cody Bumdidge is basically the same guy as frick. What's the guy he KO'd last time? Andre Petroski. Basically, same guy. He basically has some okay overhands, I guess, and he has a jab he can throw out there every now and again, and a leg kick he can throw every now and again. But he relies on just minorly outpointing you on the feet, being a little better, and getting a few takedowns, some control time. Cody Bumdidge is maybe a little more youthful, a little more, he's not going to get KO'd off of a hip. So there's that. But yeah, Cam Rouston, I guess. He has amazing kickboxing in comparison. And really good one-shot KO power. Billy Elikana, Junior Tafa, this is pretty easy. Another submission on this card. I'm going to go with first round, maybe second round. Maybe he has to wait for Junior Tafa to expose himself more because he's going to be really explosive in the first round. But after that, it's going to be a nightmare for Junior Tafa. I'm going to say first round, though, because late in the first round, he's going to start gassing over these overhands that he's just winging on and whiffing into nothingness, hitting air. So I'm going to say that Billy Elikana, he pumps the jab. He also, like I said, he's really similar to Jonathan Malakiev. Although even then, he has even more of a like 2D stance. He has more of a I don't know. Is that do you call that belated stance? I forget. I'll have to check. But he has that sort of 2D long wide stance. Long, not wide, but like long, I guess. That's the best way I could put it. And I think that it's also beautiful for shots, especially when he rocks his opponent. He knows he has that killer instinct. He knows once he's rocked his opponent, he knows to shoot and he'll get the takedown. It's just sometimes if he does shoot and the opponent's not rocked, not really a good plan. I mean, he was able to get to the hips and get the back of Bogdan Gushkov, which is good, but he was new to the UFC. Bogdan probably didn't prepare for a grappler. He probably was preparing for a striker most of the time. I believe he was in a camp for Johnny Walker at the time. So, yeah, completely different style. Billy Lalakana, I think that he's going to shoot the double, get it, and I think he's going to get the rear naked. Junior has to rely on the overhands and sometimes hooks if he gets him backed up to the fence. That's certainly a possibility, but I'm not going to rely on it. And this is pretty obvious. I mean, probably I'm not gonna say another head kick, but probably a cross like he did against Quillan Salkild. I mean, like he did against Captain India. We'll just say Jubilee. And Jamie Malarkey, he is KO'd by the cross against what's the guy's name? Marcio Rufi, the real Brazilian Conor McGregor, the real Conor 2.0, unlike Malakif and Elikana. He really has that sort of counter style and that stance with the low, with the hands low and the spinning attacks with the kicks. Jamie Malarkey, he just is very open to crosses, especially when he's gassed, like he did against in the third round against what's the guy's name? I'm just gonna look. I think it's Lontop. No, Bedoya, similar guy. I think they're both Peruvian. I might be wrong on that, but I think that that cross is gonna be there all day. He's gonna be feinting low to the body probably, and then come upstairs with the cross. I think that Jamie Malarkey he doesn't have great defense in the first round. Okay, he's gonna have the chin tucked. He's gonna have a pretty solid high guard. But in the second round, he's gonna gas a little bit, trying to go for some grappling entanglements, which is what he tried to do once he was gassed against Bedoya. But I just think that that cross is gonna find the target on the temple probably, and just put him down probably like a pretty nice TKO. It's gonna be a little harder than people expected, but he's gonna get the finish. And Tai Tuivasa versus Telson Teixeira. I'm going with. I mean, I knew that he had a 5L streak, but this is just hilarious to look back on. I mean, it's not bad comp, absolutely not. But I mean, oh, that split decision, that's hilarious. But I mean, come on, I have to pick Telson Teixeira here. I'm going with first round KO. Now, he certainly could prove us wrong in certain aspects of the game here. I think that the overhand will land at a certain moment and rock Tellison, maybe on the dome, on the forehead there. But I do think that it's going to be really hard for him to deal with the range. I don't think that Tellison is nearly as good with the distance management and the range of a Cyril Gane, and especially not a Alexander Volkov. I know that he got he just walked into an overhand from Derek Lewis before, but that was like 2018 Volkov. I think he's way better in the striking these days, at least. Um, and yeah, Telson Teixeira, I just think that he's even if it gets in close, if Tai Tuivasa gets in the clinch, if he gets backed up to the fence, the elbow is all day for Telson. He's just way quicker there. We saw that against basically Tai Tuivasa's brother in Junior or Justin Tafa. No, yeah, Justin had to make sure there. And I think that the youth is going to help him with the speed. Ty has already taken way too much damage. He's slower. He's probably going to miss weight with how. I mean, no, he didn't actually, but still, just barely. He's at the literal limit. Talison's gonna have the teep kicks if he goes to that. That would probably be wise because he was kind of just getting a little too hungry for the finish against Derek Lewis, which is good because he has finishing instinct. But he's a little too hungry. You have to kind of wait to rock your opponents and then go for it. But he kind of just went for it, like all bets off, I guess. First round KO, probably an uppercut. I'll say an uppercut to an elbow. An uppercut rocks Ty, and then because people aren't expecting that. I think he's gonna land a few teeps. Probably get the probably gonna. I mean, Ty has some solid calf kicks too, but it's just not enough, man. Not against these young hungry lions. So a few calf kicks they trade. Then he comes in with an uppercut once they get in close, and Ty tries to brawl, but he lands the uppercut first because the range and the height is just too much, and then Ty is sort of stumbling to the fence, and he gets elbowed, sort of like Justin Tafa. Rafael versus Marcio. I'm going with Rafael Fiziev. I know that's kind of an unpopular pick, at least amongst the YouTubers, and I like this underdog pick here. Rufi is not an underdog, not an underdog in Tapology, but I don't really care. I'm gonna pick him. I'm going with. I could see realistically actually a finish. I could see the cross landing beautifully. Uppercut maybe if in the clinch it gets there. In the Muay Thai, exchanges, Fiziev really likes the uppercut. In the clinch, he likes the knee even more so. Gaethje likes the uppercut a little more, but Fiziev likes the knee more, I'd say. They're kind of similar, I would say, Gaethje and Fiziev, but Gaethje's a little less stationary. He has a better head movement, a little better. Gaethje is less style and more practicality, whereas Fiziev is more. He's more. He does a head movement at range. He doesn't really do that in the clinch too much. It's more for style points, I guess, or to throw off the opponent, like keep them guessing when he actually does make his entries in the clinch. That is, or in the just the pocket in general. Rufi, he has those flashy kicks, and don't get me wrong, like what Che said, he is very stationary, Fiziev. So it's going to be very open to certain crosses and to the cross specifically when you fake the jab, show the cross, and it lands usually against Fiziev, like we've seen against Marchikazi, I believe that British guy. But I don't think the kicks are going to be there as much. They're certainly going to be there. They're certainly going to be there. But Fiziev does a good job of keeping his hands high, even when he's rocked. So I do think that he's going to have it open. Maybe he could set it up with the body kicks to the head, Marcio. But one thing I really didn't like was I think that Fiziev has really good takedowns, like we saw against uh, Gaethje and against even Ignacio. People forget against Ignacio, he was freaking landing takedowns in basically every round. Rufi, one thing I don't like about him, once he got shot on one time and it was a successful takedown, once he got back up in the second round, he did not have that same reflexes, that distance management. And Fiziev, although to a lesser degree of success as BSD, he's going to land those body kicks. He loves those body kicks. And it's not going to be there as much because the southpaw stance and all that. But man, I just think that Fiziev still has all the attributes on the feet that BSD did to mix it up, body, head, even leg kicks, all that and more that BSD did. And granted, he doesn't have the takedowns threat as much, but he does have takedowns. That's one thing that MHA isn't realizing that I said prior. He does have takedowns that he can use in his arsenal. It's just he doesn't use it as much as BSD, and he's not as much of a physical specimen. But he literally ran into Gaethje, and it wasn't even a really, really good shot, to be honest. It wasn't that good. And he managed to get on top off of inverted triangle that Gaethje just put himself in, trying to get the top position. It wasn't great, but it shows that he has the double leg, he has the potential, and he was running the pipe on a bigger, stronger, in my opinion, more well proven in the takedown defense, more well proven in the striking, even I would say, Ignacio Bahamondes. So yes, Rufi has the cross that he could go to. Yes, the spinning wheel kick is always there with him, but I just you're not proven. You beat Bobby Green. You beat Bobby Green, bro, who is more stationary and has maybe better head movement, but way worse combinations, way worse speed. I think Fiziev's going to see that, and he's going to lean back and be ready for most of his offerings. BSD and Dan Hooker. I'm going with Hooker. BSD. I think that Hooker's not the worst underdog pick, but I think that this is a pretty obvious pick, and I'm going with a third round submission. I think it's going to be a little hard for BSD in the first round to actually get stuff going. It's going to be a body kick tit for tat game. Even some leg kicks, I could see some calf kicks. And in the second round, they're going to start feeling more comfortable throwing each other's head kicks. But I think once BSD goes for the shot, then that's when the whole thing changes. It's similar with Fiziev and Rufi. Once the feeling out process is done, I do think that Hooker has a little better feints. He feints the uppercut a little more lately. He did that with Gamrot and even Arman, I believe. He can feint the uppercut in the knee quite well, but the only thing that I see landing here is the knee and the teep kicks. I think the leg kicks and the leg kicks, to be fair, but I think BSD, even though he keeps his hands fairly low, he's always prone to keeping his hands high when he sees the head kick coming. That's what I've noticed. And the body kicks are there for sure, but he catches the kick pretty well usually. And even even though he kind of looks like he's fighting underwater, like I said, once he got you backing up, okay, Dan Hooker can back him up, and that could pose problems for him because then he could shoot sloppy shots, sloppy double legs, and sloppy clinch exchanges. But if and at all, if at any moment in this fight Dan Hooker gets pushed up against the fence, I do not see him having the physicality, the strength to shuck him off, as we've seen against Arman Tsarukyan. Arman is a big lightweight, but so is BSD. He fought at welterweight in his UFC debut, and Arman says that he can literally make featherweight. Now, I'm not saying that that disproves that he's a big lightweight, but he's 5'7". Let's be real. He's not. Well, lightweight is Arman's weight class. He's not a welterweight at all. BSD fought at welterweight. I think that BSD, his strength is just going to be so apparent here. He's going to find the body lock. He's going to drag Dan down. And I think that he's going to eventually find Mount, soften him up with some ground and pound. And then in the second round, once he gets the more dominant second round with the ground and pound, I think in the third round, Dan Hooker is going to be more slow, more labored. And even though he's going to have his hands low, BSD is going to take the opportunity to mix things up high, land a head kick, rock Dan a bit, and then he's going to be covering up high, sort of like Yair against Volk, who we're going to talk about in a moment. The GOAT, baby. Yeah, oh yeah. The GOAT, like Lucas's GOAT, at least. I mean, he's my GOAT too, man. He's the GOAT. Let's be honest. And I think that he's going to get the takedown off of Dan guarding up high, giving up his hips basically. And then I think he's going to lock up a rear naked, another rear naked choke for the boys, for the based Catholic boys. Diego Agartha Lopez and Alexander, the real Agartha Knight Volko. So Volkanovski, my Macedonian Chad. Let's go, baby, Volk. For Macedonia and Australia. Dude, if it's like I'm pretty sure it's Macedonia from Volk. I'm like, if I butcher that, I swear I saw he's like Macedonian. Svise Bracha. If we get this right, okay, this is another one from the Balkans. I'm so nervous for Volk, but let's go, Volk. I'm going to pick Volk just because it's the smart choice, but I was considering Diego. Similar to the Gaethje thing, I was considering him because he has lethal combos in the pocket, but I think that Volk is way, 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 way better with the distance management compared to a Paddy Pimblett. Way, way, way better. He has that super quick jab, fast twitch. He's always feinting. He's always showing you the uppercut, the jab, even the cross. He's always showing you. He's always feinting you. It's not that he's showing you it like, oh, I'm gonna do it like it's like a slow Beneil. Even though I love Beneil as well, but he's very slow and labored in his feints and all that. Like he's literally showing you his knee when he does it, like like a Beneil, for example. And I just think that Diego, he looked very hittable against John. He's not going to be like against John Silva. Like he's not going to be chasing Diego like he did there. He's always exiting the pocket intelligently, almost always. He's circling almost always. It's just that when he backed up linear, or is it linearly? I don't think that sounds right, but it's when he backed up in a straight line that Diego countered, or not countered, but found his shot when Volk was backing up in a straight line. And I don't think that those openings are going to be there as much. Now, if Diego just goes for a brawl like Gaethje, I think he's going to be countered quite a bit, but I think he has to do that. I think he has to. And that's what I was thinking going into this, because if he just backs Volk up and goes for the clinch, I think it's possible that if he just goes for the takedowns more, he'll have the strength advantage enough. I do think that Volk, even though he's a big guy, it's similar to Arman. He's kind of just more of a featherweight. And Diego, I believe he could make lightweight. I think he had a catch weight. He had a catch weight against Dan Ige. He had a catch weight possibly against Movsar. He can make those weights, and he's known for it. Volk has also gone up to lightweight, but I feel like Alex, he's always had the greater success at featherweight. I truly believe so with Volk. He pumps the jab. He gets the takedown. Don't get me wrong. He has a beautiful double leg as well. Even single legs he can catch, like with Yair Rodriguez. But I just think that Diego's going to be stronger in the clinch, so I think he has to play the grappling game here. Like he did against John, he showed levels with that. He picked him up and slammed him. He was super strong there. But then again, Jean was kind of just throwing caution to the wind. He threw us a pretty sloppy spinning back kick, and it kind of looked like he was just trying to hit the knee for some reason. Like, it didn't even look like a body kick, a spinning knee kick. So yeah, I think that Diego, he has an okay jab, to be fair. He can kind of follow that up with the overhand and with the cross sometimes, especially the overhand. That's how he dropped Volk. But I just overall think that he's going to be following Volk too much, and I think that that's the problem, because he was able to find the success when he found the reads on Jean, and he was getting a little too carried away. When Jean was mixing things up while still being aggressive, that's when he was rocking Diego. When but even then, when Diego was going forward, he was the one that was getting countered. Like I think that in the early second round, Jean Silva he did like a look back 1-2 that rocked Diego. Or maybe it wasn't even 1-2, but it was like a hook or a cross, something along those lines. And it's like I think that Diego on the back foot is when he's actually going to find his moments. I think that, or was that the point I was trying to make here? Yeah, yeah, it is. It is. Like, yes, Diego has to come forward, but even then, like, Volk is going to counter you. So I just think he has to come forward. And yes, he doesn't have as much power, so you have to go forward. You have to. But at the end of the day, Volk is I think he's too strong in the clinch. I think he's going to shuck him off. And I do think it's going to be either like a 48-47 or a 50-45. It's either going to be way more dominant or way more close. I'm going to say a 48-47 across the board because I think that Diego's going to find a takedown in one moment and we're going to be thinking, oh, shoot, wait a minute, is this out of prime Volk? But it's just not. It's just that Diego is more close to his prime and he's sort of figured out Volk a little better because with Volk, you kind of have to be in there a full 5 rounds to sort of get his timing a little better. In a second in rematches he doesn't do as well. I'm sure you've noticed with Max and with Islam Makhachev, but I think that he's still going to get it done despite that, despite him possibly even being out of his prime. I think the GOAT, Alexander Gotanovsky, is going to prove again why he's at the top, and I'm really hoping so. I was picking Diego to the build-up of this, and I hope that I'm not like wrong like with Gaethje Pimblet again, but you never know, man. You never know. But thank you so much for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe. Mask of MMA out.